Welcome to the Parent's Guide to the Maths-Whizz Tutor. Each student is given an individual log-on to the whizz.com site. If the username is in initial capitals, you can ignore these as the username is not case sensitive, but the password is. If the student is logging in on an iPad, they need to do so through Puffin Academy. This is a free educational browser that can be downloaded as an app on your iPad. When students first log in, they will do an assessment to find out what level they are at in each topic, and Maths-Whizz will set their automated program. This should be done at school under test conditions where students will not be given help to answer the questions. If a student gets help with the assessment, Maths-Whizz is likely to assume the student knows more and sets their lessons at a level that is too high for the student. In the assessment, the student was given questions in each topic covering the New Zealand curriculum. If they got a question right, the next question was a little harder, and if they get a question wrong, the questions get easier, until Maths-Whizz finds their level in every topic. After the students complete the assessments, the teachers are able to see a profile showing strengths and weaknesses for each student. The younger the students are, the less topics they have. As they progress through Maths-Whizz, more topics are introduced. Maths-Whizz uses a UK Maths-Whizz age as a guideline. It is not a New Zealand maths age. The purpose of Whizz is not to focus on the maths age of where the child starts, but the improvement they make. If we are looking at an approximate correlation to New Zealand standards, then as a rough guide you can add 6 to 9 months to the UK maths age to get an approximate level for New Zealand students. But again, we do not recommend that you focus on this age when working with your child, but focus on improvement. Maths-Whizz will now give the student lessons at each level in each topic specifically for them. When a student logs in, they can go into their study where they can access everything.
Hello, can you get to 30 minutes of usage this week?
All areas in the study will remain locked until a student has done either 10 minutes in their current session or 45 minutes for their week on Maths-Whizz activities. The clock is reset to 0 minutes every Monday. The student's tutor gives lessons specifically for each student at their level with a focus on their weaker topics to try and fill in the gaps that we saw earlier in their topic profile. We recommend 60 minutes of focused activity each week in Tutor. Maths-Whizz has over 1,200 different exercises. Your child will receive a lesson addressing a specific learning objective, and if they pass, they will receive a test. If they pass the test, they make one progression and move on to their next learning objective. If they don't pass the test, they will have to repeat the exercise again later, even if they passed it the first time. For this reason, it is important that students try their very best in the tests. To get new lessons, they need to pass the tests, but it is important that you do not help them, or Maths-Whizz will set their program too hard. Here is an example of a typical exercise in Tutor.
2 halves make 1 whole.
The learning objective for this exercise is begin to recognize that 2 halves or 4 quarters make 1 whole. Most exercises have some teaching at the beginning with an example. Maths-Whizz will then give your child a set of questions.
4 quarters make 1 whole. Click 4 pieces that make 1 whole circle.
If your child gets the answer right, they will get the next question. If they get the question wrong, they will be given some help first before they are shown the correct answer. This can often help the child's understanding. If they pass this exercise, then they will be given the test. The purpose of the test is to assess mastery of the learning objective and to simulate school-based testing. If the child passes the test, Maths-Whizz will progress them to the next learning objective. Remind your child to always try their best in their tests, as if they don't, they will end up having to repeat exercises they may have already passed. Do not help them in the tests, as Maths-Whizz will then assume they understand more than they do and move them on. But do remind them to do their best in the tests and not to log out until they are finished. The Maths-Whizz tutor is adaptive, and the next exercise will be determined by the results in the test. So when you see animals bouncing across the screen, this is just an alternative to a loading sign, while Maths-Whizz chooses the next activity for your child. Always encourage your child to listen closely to the teaching at the beginning of each exercise.
Angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. These 2 angles add up to 360 degrees.
Watch carefully that your child doesn't click through the teaching without listening or understanding the example shown, otherwise they tend to get stuck on the questions.
If we know one of the angles around a point, we can subtract it from 360 degrees to find the other angle.
Most of the exercises have a jump button. which becomes active if a student gets the first few questions right in an exercise.
Jump unlocked.
When the jump button becomes active, the child should then ask themselves the question, could I get 100% in the test?
Well done. As you're doing so well, you can skip the rest of the questions in this lesson. Would you like to jump ahead to the next lesson or continue with these questions?
If they need some more practice, they should do some more questions until they are confident they can get 100% and then press the jump button. Always encourage your children to do their very best in their tests, as if they do not pass the test, then they will have to repeat the previous exercise until they pass the test that goes with it. If they have jumped the exercise and then they don't pass the test, they will not be able to jump that exercise next time they do it. If they pass the test, then they will get new exercises, so it is important they try their hardest in the tests. Every time they pass a test, it shows as improvement in the teacher reports, and they then progress to the next level. Every time they pass a test, it goes towards them getting a green tick in teacher reports. Students can use a paper and pencil to help them do working, but they shouldn't use a calculator unless one comes up on the screen like this. To support your child's learning, check their report card, which can be accessed in their study each time they log on. You can see all of the activities they have done in the last 7 days. Keep an eye on how long it has taken them and the scores they got. This icon represents a test, and the picture icon could be an exercise, a topic bank or replay activity. So, in summary, we have looked at the differences between the exercises and tests and assisting your child in making progressions by encouraging them to do their very best in the tests. Every week, students should be aiming to spend around 60 minutes in their tutor and 30 minutes in replay consolidating their learning. Click on the iPod on your child's desk and follow the prompts if you would like to receive a free monthly email outlining your child's usage and progress. Be sure to ask your child's teacher if you have any questions, and watch all of our parent videos on Maths-Whizz.